This is going to be my attempt to bring beginners into this game as easily as possible. Excuse me, I'm kind of sick right now. Oh, let me get chat up here. No. Okay. So this is the King of Fighters 13, or KOF 13. Steam edition. There is a sequel to this game called the King of Fighters 14. However, it is only for the PlayStation. I don't have a PlayStation. The fundamentals of the game are identical, almost. So, in addition, I think this game's better, but that's my opinion. Hey. This game is very difficult. If you want to get good at this game, you'll need to spend a lot of time here in practice mode, or maybe online and waiting in practice mode while waiting for matches. If you want to like get good at it, this video is tailored toward people who are new to fighting games. This particular video, however, I will be going into more in-depth videos later on. Excuse me. And I'm going to be trying to cover everything that I know about the game, and I'm going to be like refreshing because there's some stuff that I don't remember, honestly. So that's what this is going to be. This is going to be me covering the game from the very beginning to the very end. If you're new to fighting games completely, I don't recommend this game for you, honestly. It's a very difficult game, and it's excuse me. That's really the main reason, is it's very difficult, and you're going to be losing a lot, and it's going to be very difficult to gauge your progress, because you're either playing against players who are also bad, or you're playing against players who are going to beat you every single time. That's really all I come across online, is people who are worse than me and I beat them, and people who are better than me and I lose to them. That's all I come across. So if you're brand new to this genre of game, fighting game, arcade style fighting game, 2D, then I would recommend a different game, such as Street Fighter, or maybe Tekken. Street Fighter is by far the easiest. But if you are still around, hey, this is KOF 13. I'm going to be going over the game. So to start with, this is the Steam Edition version of the game. So this is on PC. The reason that you want the Steam Edition is because it's updated. There's nothing big compared to the Xbox or console versions, except there are a couple of, like, they're not really balance changes, they're more of bug fixes. If anything, like certain attacks weren't like counter hitting properly and stuff like that. But the main reason that you want a Steam Edition is because of the netcode. The online is much better in the Steam release than in the console versions. Significantly better. So that's the main reason that you want Steam Edition. Additionally, when you're on Steam Edition, the first thing that you want to make sure is on is in graphics options. You'll want the frame rate on fixed. You'll always want fixed frame rate on every fighting game that you play. Seriously, you always want fixed frame rate. You also want a static 60 frames per second. You can like check your frame rate in Steam. I can't tell you how to do it right now. I don't remember, but there's a way to make it show up. But make sure that you are running at 60 frames per second or 59 frames per second at all times. It's very important. It's going to make certain combos possible. It's going to make your game run as smooth as possible. If you can't get that, the first thing that you want to do is turn this on to static, because you want, basically, these are the backgrounds. If you want like a moving background, that's what this is. So putting it on static is going to make the background just a static image. It's not going to move, and it's going to be less taxing on your computer, so you'll get a higher frame rate. Additionally, I believe full screen is better than Windows full screen, but I prefer Windows full screen because my computer is really good. And then after you mess with these and you still can't get a solid 60, then you'll want to back down on the resolution. Start with your monitor's just default resolution, and then work down from there. I have notes here. Let's see. Yes, as far as using the keyboard, you can totally play. You can physically play this game with a keyboard, but it's going to be very difficult. You can play with an Xbox controller. It's going to be much easier. However, the easiest for me is an arcade stick with like a joystick and buttons on my face, and it's really heavy, and it's what you see people bringing to like fighting game tournaments. Is that giant box is just it's meant to replicate the experience of playing it on an arcade. Meh. But I just think it's easier. There's very particular input shortcuts that you can use with an arcade stick, especially with a square gate, if you know what that means. So that's my quick rant about arcade sticks versus the keyboard. You can totally play with the keyboard. I've played this game with the keyboard before. It's just much harder. Some combos just become impossible for me, and I'm not picky. As far as like pads, they're also really good. Just keyboard is the low end. If you're not able to afford, or maybe if you are like, I don't know if I want to get an arcade stick. Like, I don't know if I like this game or not. It's totally fine just to stick with the keyboard for now, and then if you do end up liking the game, you can go in later and purchase something else. Last thing before we get into the actual game is number 1 on this menu is tutorial. These are completely useless. I'm going to be going over these much better. Let's put it that way. There's no need to do the tutorial. Like maybe there's like an achievement in Steam for doing it. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been years. But they don't do it. They honestly don't do a very good job of telling you how to play. Honestly. So that's it for this. The first thing that you want to do when booting up the game is practice mode. Practice. Pick a character you like and start messing around. For now, I'm going to be looking over the basicest characters, which is the default characters, which is Kyo and Iori. And I'm going to be going over the basic general system of the game. Starting with movement. So there's the thing about this game is there's a lot of ways to move. So you can just hold left or right and you'll walk. Notice that I'm always facing toward the opponent. If I somehow switch directions, or if I somehow swap sides, I'm still facing toward them. There's no way, except like if I'm like in the air, it'll, as soon as I land, it turns me to face them, which is important to know. So it's not like Smash Brothers where you had to like aim your attacks in the right direction. Excuse me. So you're walking forward and backward. Notice that walking forward is faster than walking backwards. It's very important. This is true for the entire cast, I believe. I haven't like tested this. It's basic, but something to think about. Next up is running and backdashing. So if you did here, let me put on my inputs. I should have done this a long time ago. Inputs. Hey, directions. So the arrows at the very top of the list are what I'm currently. So like I'm holding right now. Now I'm holding left. Now I'm holding down. Or let's say I press buttons. Let's say I press a direction and a button. Or if I press, 3 buttons. Whoops. 3 buttons. I hover I super jump. So now you can see what I'm doing. So just walk left and right. This is the most basic form of movement. It's very safe. Like say they do something. Oh, I can block right now. Like walking is the safest form of movement in this game because you can cancel it at any time into anything, except charge moves, I guess. But next up is running. So to run, you double tap forward. I hit it 3 times there. Hold on. You double tap forward and then you hold it, and you'll continue to run. Notice that I can hold down like that. I can switch between these 2 directions freely. A lot of people don't know this. This is how you do running rising tackles. And if you do it backwards, it's a backdash, which you cannot hold it. Like I do back and I hold, and I start walking backwards. The thing about backdashes is they're actually airborne, so you can like do certain very specific character-specific actions during them. But the important thing to know here is this is much faster than walking. This is walking. This is running. This is backdashing, running. Basically, it's a slightly less safe. Notice, like, that first initial part of the run, I can't cancel that. I have to, like, I can't just block, you know? Like, as soon as I begin running, I try to block low, and it runs that short distance before it even lets me do that. So, and obviously you can't block during the entire backdash. Next up is jumps. So if you're coming from Street Fighter, for example, there's a lot to go over here because there's a lot more options than in other games. You have your normal jumps. You can hold up, and they'll just jump straight up. You can hold diagonals, and they'll jump. For the most part, forward and backward jumps are the same. You'll notice that it's like the exact same distance. Actually, I think back is no. They're the exact same. They're the exact same distance. But there's more options. There's hops, and the way you hop is you just lightly tap it. If you're familiar with Smash Brothers, it's exactly the same as Smash Brothers. One way to do this is to go up and then down very quickly, and you'll like naturally hop. Hops obviously don't go as high as jumps, and they're quicker. And you'll land faster. Jumps, hops. There's more jumps. By the way, you can jump straight up, you can jump forward, you can jump backwards, you can hop neutral, you can hop forward, oops, you can hop forward, and you can hop backwards as well. Next is super jumps. If you tap down and then up and forward, you'll get these very long range jumps. Notice from like the round start range. Super jump. They don't go any higher. Here, let me get them in the corner so you can see. Regular jumps, super jumps. They're exactly the same height. You're in the air for exactly the same amount of time. The only difference is one goes further. Look at this. One super jump, one regular jump. It's just distance. That's all it is. Next is hyper hops, which is exactly the same as a hop and a super jump combined. So like you tap down and it looks like this. It's exactly the same as a hop, except it goes further. It does not keep you in the air longer. It doesn't make you go higher. It doesn't make you go lower. It just goes further. And there's, again, the input trick. You can go like down, up, down, like this. I don't do that. It's hard for me. It's just like a long cut instead of a shortcut. I do quarters. Like, look. I curl the stick around and then I hop. Is what I do. Same with super jumps. Um, the important thing to know about jumps is they're really good. Like, again, hyper hop. Like, you can't do that in games like Street Fighter or Tekken. You can't just be like, oh, I'm right here, I'm gonna hop at you and then combo you. Like that, you can't do that in most games, but you can in KOF, which is why movement is very important. It's very important that you understand how each movement option works. It's more important that you understand how to use them effectively. And I mean them as in all of them. You can't just hop every single time, otherwise you're way too predictable. You'll need to sometimes jump, sometimes super jump, sometimes hop, sometimes run. Don't think you have to jump. Maybe roll. You know, that's a tangent. I'm going on a tangent. Next, you can't block during jumps. One more note about jumps: you can't block during them. So like, it's a very unsafe way to approach. If you're jumping away, you're not very, like, they can chase you down and punish you for that, I mean, is what I'm trying to say. Or if you jump at them, that's like a direct form of offense. They can stop you from jumping by like hitting you out of the air if they know it's coming. So that's jumping. Next is blocking and attacking. So basically, offense and defense. I'm going to be going over defense first because it's simpler. There's two types of blocking in this game. There is high blocking and low blocking. It's exactly the same, for the most part, as is most 2D fighting games. Is you hold away to block, you hold down back to block, and there's two types of blocking. There's high and low blocking, and I'm going to be showing you this. So, stand guard is what this guy is set to. So he's going to be blocking all my stuff. Let me turn this off. Oh no, I can't hit him. He's just blocking everything. So there is a very important concept to know about attacks in this game, which I'll go over how to attack very soon, but there's two types of blocks, and for things that can be blocked, you have to choose which blocker you're using wisely. So right now he's doing a standing block. And he's blocking all my high attacks. But as soon as I do an attack that hits him in the shins, he can't block it anymore. This is a low attack. You have to block it while crouching. The thing about crouching is now he's also blocking all my high attacks. I can't hit him. What do I do? Well, there's a couple options. First is throw, but that's in a bit. The other one is overhead attacks, which can only be blocked standing. Notice he's taking damage while he's crouching, and he's not taking damage while he's standing. Because of it, like, what? Look how slow this thing is. Like it's like a third of a second to just to like react to it, and you don't really get anything off of it. It's just like 80 damage or something, and then it's over. And you're pushed like way far away. I can't hit you from here, right? Wow, I really can't hit you from here. So like, moral of this story is the block low. Whenever you're trying to block, generally block low and then react to things that you must block high. So if you see him doing this, block high. Or, in addition, if they're jumping at you, many jumping attacks also hit overhead. With one exception, the jumping CD. Which I'll get to that when I get to attacks. Which is right now, there are 4 buttons. Oh, never mind. I missed guard break. Don't block too long. If you block too much, I can combo you. There's a guard break. Moral of the story is don't guard for more than like 10 seconds straight. Be active in your defense and try to stop the offense with something other than blocking. Maybe you like hit them out of the air when they're like that's for later. That's strategy. I'm tangenting. Okay, so next there are 4 attack buttons, and you'll see it over in the left. This light red button is LP. That stands for light punch. Dark red is hard punch. Light blue is light kick. Dark blue is hard kick. So there's 4 buttons. You're not gonna see any other like buttons. Although if you go to the button config, you can actually change. You can map certain buttons on your controller or your keyboard to multiple inputs. Like you can set a button to both light punch and light kick, for example. In general, punches and kicks. So punches tend to hit high, and kicks tend to hit low. That's a very general statement. And this hits high, but this also hits kind of high. It also moves them forward. In addition, punches tend to be a tiny itty bitty bit faster than kicks, but kicks tend to deal more damage. In addition, the same thing with lights and heavies. Light punch is generally quicker than hard punch. Usually the hard punch goes further and is slower but does more damage. Same with the kicks. Light kick is really fast but doesn't do much damage and has very little reach. Hard kick goes very far, hits harder, but is a little bit slower. Whenever you hold down, like any down direction, you'll crouch and notice that your attacks are different while crouching. This is crouching light kick. This is standing light kick. Some attacks gain new properties. For example, he can block this while standing, the standing hard kick, but he can't block the crouching hard kick while standing. In addition, if you do attacks in the air, this is standing light punch, this is crouching light punch, this is jumping light punch. With very few exceptions, it doesn't matter what jump you use. Notice that light punch is exactly the same in all my jumps, hops, super jumps. It's all the same. In games like Street Fighter, there tends to be like different types of jumping normals. That doesn't really exist. There are a couple that have different properties, but there's very few. One that comes to mind is Leona's hard kick, but that's character specific stuff. In addition, there is a 5th normal, which is it occurs when you hit both hard punch and a hard kick together, and this is called a blowback. This is going to be like every single normal is dependent on the character, but for the most part, this move hits from about like it hits pretty far for most characters, and you can cancel it into stuff, and it knocks down on hit. So it knocks them to the ground. In addition, you can do this in the air. However, normal jumping attacks must be blocked standing, but jumping CDs do not. You have to do something else in the air for it to hit crouching opponents. There is no crouching CD. This is his crouching hard punch. This is crouching CD. It doesn't do anything. There is no crouching CD. Oh, sorry. There is no crouching blowback. I'll get into that CD, A, B, C, D notation in a bit. Um, there's more ways to attack. There is character-specific stuff. So if you notice, in the command list, you can go to the menu here, or you can just hit the back button. It'll bring you to the command list. It'll have your character's name at the very top, Kyo, and it's going to tell you all your character-specific attacks. So the first one is throw, which is that little green icon there means close by. So while you're near someone, just hit forward or backward and then hard punch or hard kick. And that's going to be your normal throw. I'll talk more about normal throws later. Next is command normals, or command moves. So see where it tells you the name of the move and then it tells you how to do it. So there's forward plus light kick. By the way, these all assume that you're facing to the right. So it's not right plus light kick, it's forward plus light kick. Or toward the opponent plus light kick. Which is this move that I was showing off before, which is the overhead hit. Next is the down plus forward hard kick, or I guess this move. It's twice. First it's cancelable. Stuff like that. Very unique to the character. Like, not every character has a forward plus light kick attack, which is the whole purpose of the command list, is to tell you. So that symbol next to the third command normal is in air. In air. Down plus hard punch. Next is the special moves, which obviously these are much more complicated to do. In general, special moves are more powerful than normal moves, but if they get blocked, they're generally unsafe, or at least you lose the advantage when one is blocked. So you'll want to make sure that you're hitting the opponent before you actually use one. I'll get into all these symbols later, but like some examples for him are this. They're a lot flashier. Fireball, he's got this thing. He's got this thing. He's got this thing. I forget what else he has. That's it. All 5. You also have supers, which, if I get myself some meter here, that's not super. Supers are these flashy things, do a lot of damage, very unsafe on block. Some of them are like invincible. Most of them aren't actually, which is a very big difference from Street Fighter. Most supers aren't invincible. The other one, oh, and then you had the Neo Max. Oops. Wow, that was very anticlimactic, wasn't it? Super flashy, does a lot of damage, but costs a lot of resources, and I'll get into those resources later. So that's it for the attacking, and that's it for the level 1. So that's all I wanted to cover in this first part. This is all the basic mechanics that I need to know to begin playing the game. There's a lot more to the system, and there's a lot to the system, which is why I'm breaking the system itself up into 2 separate videos. So I hope you learned a lot about the game. This first part was tailored toward like very, very new beginners, basic fighting game stuff. And the next video is going to be going over very specific things to KOF and what makes the game different from other fighting games. And so yeah, thanks for watching if you have been. But I'm gonna go ahead and record the next video right now, because I have notes for it. So for this one, I want to pick Takuma. Actually, before I do that, I want to show off the general structure of the game. Boop. So this is the next video.